this is Jason, and this is number 6. This is Moana. Hi, this is a 10-part video series on my journey from 2012 to 2020. It has been exciting so far, and I hope that you've seen the other videos. If not, they're on YouTube and Periscope, and the audio file is on my website. Well, this one is about Moana, and I returned to Moana after living there first. In 2014, that was the first place that I moved, and the video is called Honolulu, the other one, because Moana is actually an area that's in South Honolulu. Hawaii is interesting because the way it's set up, there's actually only one city in all of the islands of Hawaii, all the Hawaiian Islands, and that one city is Honolulu. That's the only incorporated city. The other ones are towns. They're not cities. So like Kahului is a pretty big town, but it's not a city. It's a town, and so on and so forth. So I got into the habit of calling it South Honolulu, to try to be specific, because Honolulu could refer to a very big area, and Moana narrows it down even more. There's a place there called Moana Park, and it's right next to Kaka'ako. Sometimes people get those two confused, or they use them interchangeably. There's a real horrible accident that was in Moana, and it was very close to the park, and the storage unit that I was renting was actually like right in between the two, and apparently a drunk driver hit a bunch of people, pedestrians. On the first floor. And I talk about it in the past tense because it was a place I went to and visited. It's still there as far as I know. But it was about a block from the storage, and I would buy organic food on the first floor, and I would eat it on the second floor while I charged my devices and used the Wi-Fi. And sometimes I would smoke a little weed on the upper floors in the parking garage. It was pretty quiet up there in the corners. And you can also smoke weed on the bench right in front of the building. Nobody bothers you. But there's typically a lot of wind, so if you're down below, the wind will get you. Just make sure you know who's downwind from you, If you're smoking cigarettes, nobody should be downwind from you. And I don't know how you do that, but if you're smoking weed, you might want to make sure there's no cops downwind from you. Remember, weed is medicine, cigarettes, poison. So I went there, pretty frequently. It became a real fun spot to stop by. They also had like a bar area upstairs, and they didn't sell any organic drinks, so I couldn't buy anything. But they would give me some hot water if I asked, and I would make my own organic tea, organic coffee there, just brew it in a cup. And there's electricity in the bar area as well, just like one outlet. And then there's an outside seating area that was fun, and it overlooked everything, and you could see the beach. Now, and for some reason, the homeless people really didn't go there at all at first, and then a couple of them started going there. I think it was too new looking, and homeless people don't really like going places with a bunch of rich people, you know. Sometimes you'll see a homeless person in front of, or in a rich area, asking for money because they know those people have money. But when it comes to like mingling and hanging out for a while and stuff, they're insecure, and they don't like people staring at them and whispering behind their backs. And some people are actually pretty mean. They say mean things to the homeless people, and it upsets me because it's unkind, and because I meant to start calling homeless people houseless people. I think that's important. The word home is a mistranslation in the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament. It should have been translated house. You can look that up in the Greek, and the Hebrew, Aramaic. And it was a mistranslation in a lot of the English translations. Some of the older ones got it right. But anyways, be that as it may. Yeah, when I'm in public and when I'm doing stuff, I don't look like a houseless person. So I get angry when they talk smack about these houseless people, and I got to hear it and listen to it, and because I don't condone it, and I think they should shut up. For instance, like, what if they smell? What does that mean? Does that mean that they don't have access to a shower? It doesn't necessarily mean they're lazy, or And how about people burning gasoline on houseless people constantly? What's that all about? Okay, so somebody's dirty and smelly, and you're burning gasoline on them all day, and you haven't, talked to your elected officials about, building public bathrooms or public showers or anything, and it smells like poop around. I mean, you got to take some responsibility for your actions as well, So another place that I visited, that was the other health food store, is called Down to Earth, and that's one of my favorite health food stores. Sadly, there's not one here in Kauai, but there is one in Maui, and I visited that one a lot in Kahului. And when I was in Oahu, the island of Oahu, I used to ride my bike to the one that was up on King Street, and that was a good little distance from Moana. Sometimes I remember going there at night and like just racing back as fast as I could because the storage unit would close at 10, and if you get there at 10:01, you're locked out. That's it. And so, and sometimes it would rain, or you get a flat tire, and then you never know what was going to happen. And I used to cut it real close. But so instead of having to go to that one, several miles away on King, there was one that opened up in Kaka'ako. And I think I like the Kaka'ako one even better, because they had electricity there for one, unlike the other one. And I just like the layout. It was like brighter and friendlier. The other one seemed kind of old and small, and the upstairs part where you eat just seemed kind of crowded, and I don't know. So I would get some health food, organic food there, and eat it and sit down and charge up my stuff and get online. It's fantastic. And there's an area around the backside between the buildings where you can sit down as well. And it was even a little protected from the rain. I remember it rained sometimes when I was there, and there was an umbrella at the table, and I would just kind of duck under the umbrella and chill for a while. That one was real convenient too. It was right in between like the storage unit and the gym and the beach. It was real central. Now, I visited the Bishop 24-Hour Fitness Gym in downtown, and they ended up changing their hours right after I started going to it. And it was kind of frustrating because I used to go there whenever I wanted and late at night, and then they started closing on weekends and just totally changed their hours. And I talked to the security guard about it across the street, and that guy said that they're just too cheap to get their own security guard, and that they had trouble with a homeless person or something, going in there. They said people like to blame a lot of stuff on the homeless that is probably not the homeless fault. So I remember at one point asking the guy behind the desk, I said, "Are you afraid? Are you scared for your life, bud?" I mean, you know what I mean? Like this giant ogre guy, they're shutting it down for safety reasons because this guy with a neck like as big as my leg, is afraid for his safety. Yeah, right. I think what they really were doing was they were trying to save money. I think they're probably hurting for money, and they figured, we don't want to pay workers to work all these hours when we don't have to. They're not a super sport gym. I believe they're on the active level, which is like the lowest level on 24-hour fitness. So that some active gyms, like the one in downtown Long Beach, close on the weekends. They say it's because that little strip mall and the parking garage, everything closes on the weekends, which is probably true. But not all 24-hour fitnesses are really open 24 hours. It's kind of goofy, and a lot of them close down at least a couple times a year on some major holidays. So I liked using the sauna there. That was awesome. That's one of my favorite things. I sweated out, dirt there. I met some real interesting people in there too. I remember I met a veteran in the war, and I met a guy who's like an androgynous transitioning kid who was real nice and smart, and we talk in there and stuff and hang out. And I also met this one African American guy. I believe he was from one of the countries in Africa, and he had an accent. And he told me that one of God's names is Hugh. And I looked that up, and that was pretty interesting. That's not one that I've heard, and I've studied the names of God, and I've got a list of them from the Bible. poured 7 to 8 some odd ounces in there and took it with me, I would typically drink about a half a bottle watching the sunset. That was kind of like a little ritual I had for a while, and that worked out real well. And wine actually keeps pretty well out of the refrigerator. You don't got to refrigerate it. I'm sure it'll go bad eventually, but mine never did. And I never drank a whole bottle. I just half a bottle is plenty. That would give me a good buzz. And that's actually a little much. Now I drink less than that, and I prefer drinking less. But I kind of broke it into 2 days like that because I didn't want it to go bad or sit around forever. And sometimes I would fast, and I really don't drink much when I fast, if any. And so sometimes it would need to last like 3 days or what have you. These boxes of organic daily red wine, it says on the box it lasts a month, which is nice. Now they've got a spigot on them. They've evolved the box. And it's a good price. It's about 17 some odd dollars, and it includes about 2 bottles worth of wine. So in Foodland, I would buy some organic food there and get on their Wi-Fi, which was horrible. So sometimes I would just watch videos, like YouTube videos, because I had YouTube Premium. Now, I've only been attacked one time sleeping outside since 2014, and it was in Moana Park during the day. I was sleeping there because, like I said before, there's a lot of days in my life I slept consecutive days and stayed up all night, and that worked real well. So I think this time I probably went to sleep around 7, 8 in the morning, woke up around 3 some odd o'clock in the afternoon. And very strangely, somebody kicked me in the head, and I didn't know what the hell it was. And so after I figured it out and came to my senses, I realized that this dude did it, and he was kind of slowly walking off with this girl next to him walking with him. And I started screaming and yelling at him and going off, and I looked to the right, and there's a police station to the right. I was under these big giant trees, and there's a police officer. So I started yelling at him what happened. Totally ignored me, act like he didn't see it, didn't hear it. So